All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm Joshua Dickey. I'll be reading from my book, A Patriot's Journey, Forging Hope. This is Volume 1. Today's poems, we'll just jump right into it. First poem is called Signs. You could destroy someone's life with just a word. I know what you're thinking. It's absurd. How could someone give up that much power, not understanding that they turned to coward? They are looking for the fastest, easiest way to break free. They put their faith in all wrong things that aren't meant to be. Take blame and make sure people wear the blame that's due. Open your heart to the world like you never knew. With an open mind and an open heart, God can make sure that you are on the right path to start. I know it's hard, but you first must learn to forgive first. Those will be your trials along the path will just make it worse. I know you're disgusted with yourself and it's okay to cry. Find yourself a secluded place. You can silently pray and ask why. I know you're wondering why you didn't do what was right. I know why God put it there in plain sight. Off to bed you go, but you only can toss and turn. You figured out what kind of lessons you were supposed to learn. I am dead now, there is nothing left to ponder but all the guilt. The truth is strangling you as it consumes the lies you built. You kept screaming to God until your voice can no longer be loud. People should never be ashamed to ask for help or be too proud. So, signs is every day in life there may becomes a person or an event or we'll just say an activity that can link you to something else to lead you down a different path. You know, it's not going to be obvious. It ain't going to be neon glowy lights. It ain't going to be no little finger pointing over here. And it could be just maybe you read something in the paper about an event taking place downtown. Say maybe they're having um, some type of support group now starting up, or maybe a new church is opening. Um, I'm just actually just listing subtle things, but within those things are other things that are going to lead you towards the right way. Life isn't meant to go through it alone. Um, all of a sudden you'll be walking down the street, say, and you run into somebody, and that could be the love of your life, and you just accidentally bumped into them. You didn't mean to be there at that time or at that place, but for some reason, all the timing led you to that thing. Maybe it's because you were going to go to that event, and all those sequence of events led you to that person. Um, it's kind of like how I met my wife, actually. Um, I ended up quitting pararescue, and the next day, I went tubing on the river all day. I was severely sunburned and dehydrated, and I needed some water. And so my buddies went into the store, and these two girls come out, and um, not the first girl, but the first girl was actually my wife's friend, and my wife actually was with my buddy for maybe 5-10 minutes, and she realized he's the wrong guy, and so we switched, and she started talking to me, and we've been together we've been together since, um, and we've been together for over 19 years now. Um, So, is it a coincidence that I just happened to quit pararescue and the next day meet the girl that I was gonna marry? Is it coincidence that actually that girl actually had a twin sister who actually I met the next day, and I told her I forgot her friend's phone number, and she gave it to me because Tara wouldn't give me her number. So is that coincidence that I ran into her and got her number? I mean, there's a lot of things that were in play here, um, but there were signs, and they were just all adding up to one thing. and that this is the person for you, or this is the course of action you are to do. And getting help is the same way. It is, if you don't, or you're not looking for help, you're not going to find it, especially if you don't want it. But if you're open to help and you're open to things, and then the realm of possibilities is endless for you, then now you just have to actually open your eyes and see. It could be you came across my video previously and you're like, what's this about? And then all of a sudden you hear about this book, Patriot's Journey, and it's Forging Hope, and you're like, what kind of journey is he on? Well, the journey I'm on is I am trying to be a better person for my family and for myself, because I expect more of myself. And my family deserves better of me. And everybody needs to change. It's not just me, you know. But I'm struggling with PTSD and TBIs, and so I have a little more difficulty handling my temper, handling the words I use, reacting out of anger, because it's just reactory. It's not. Um, I'm not trying to think of ways to hurt people because I never want to do that. It's never my intention. It just happens to just fall out of my trap, and people get hurt, and then I feel bad, and then I try to apologize, and um, sometimes it's received and sometimes it's not. But I'm trying every day, and every day, I get a new sign too. It's I join other support groups. I join like one's called Point Man, which is an amazing group for veterans, first responders, um, police, stuff like that, and um, because trauma is trauma, and we, even though one's in a war zone and one's back home, you're still seeing the same things, um, and I think that's kind of why we're together. And Point Man's more of a religious, loosely spiritual, religious based thing. Um, but I enjoy going. A lot of old timers in there, and um, you can just feel the love and people wanting to help out, and no one thinks they're above anybody. You got Vietnam vets and just a range of to people that were in Afghanistan in 2015. So um, it's just awesome the diversity of the people. All right, so the next poem is going to be called Monster Within. I fold a piece of paper, making it into a heart. This is where two become one right from the start. You promised to love her, to cherish her, and tightly hold. Our children will take after her because she is the mold. We are living a nice dream, and it lasted for years. The dream turned into a nightmare and was replaced with tears. A trail of tiny paper mache led to a heart which was so little. You collected all the pieces, leaving just a hole in the middle. You thought I could go back and find all the pieces and reset time. Then you realized you broke their hearts. It isn't in your mind. You wish you can go back to the days of old. How do you undo the lies and hurt you sold? It feels like a wild animal trapped in a small cage. You're afraid to act or react because of the rage. You keep thinking, is the grass really greener? I should take the kids and run if he gets any meaner. He makes excuses and causes even more problem. If he's so smart, then why can't he seem to solve them? He is the real cage fight with the beast deep inside. The beast is called out. There is no place for it to hide. So, for the longest time, I was in denial about having any types of issues. Um, I didn't want to admit to anything because, especially in the operator community, PTSD is weakness. If you have weakness, it's the only reason you have it. And you didn't want to be labeled as that weak person. And so you would deny things, and all of a sudden you start noticing things are getting worse. Um, Now your anger is magnifying. You're starting to get angry over the littlest of things. Um, it's kind of funny because you want your kids in the room, but the just hearing them is driving you crazy. And so you're just like, man, that's weird. Like, that shouldn't be happening. Why am I acting this way? Why am I being, you don't ever want to put a name to it. So you just kind of pretend it's not happening. But then things are getting worse and worse. And then you think you can control whatever, I just call it, basically the beast. It's a side of me that I don't want to be free because it's doesn't look good for anybody. And I think you got control of it, and all of a sudden, nope, bam, here it is, wreaking havoc again, and making everybody afraid to do anything because now they have to walk on eggshells because I can't control my temper, and I'm always yelling, being condescending, belittling, and it's the people I'm supposed to be filling with confidence and love and support is I'm breaking down and making them feel like they're worthless. And that's a no-go. Um, and like I said, my 4-year-old called me out on it. And, I knew I had to make a change. And once I started that change, um, I knew it was going to get bad for me and the unit I was with. So I almost like geared up for it, kind of like built my anger up even more, just to kind of react to whatever was going to come at me from my squadron, um, which was stupid. I should have never done that either. I should have just figured out how to take the smart way and did the right processes of doing things. I imagine there was one, and because no one's really done this before, at least on the Air Force side, um, it's way difficult. And the fact that I'm stationed on an Army post made it even more difficult. And, if I would have been in the Army, it would have been easy because they have Wounded Warrior battalions and everything else. They're set up for that because, they've been in combat for a very, very long time. But as far as like the Air Force goes, they don't. So, and I wasn't around it anyways, even if they did. So, um, the whole process of trying to figure out what's right for me and how to do things was just a nightmare that caused way more stress too. And you compound that with surgeries that needed to be done and trying to figure out what to do with my family, getting close to time to being actually ETSing and being out of the military for good, but not having a job because I'm not certified to do anything. So I had no job to fall back on. So it's pretty much see you later. It was just one thing after another that was just causing more and more stress. And the problem is I wasn't feeling like anybody had my back. It was like I was on an island all by myself. And when I get that way, I tend to withdraw in, and the only thing you get out of me is rage. Um, Even if you're being nice to me, it doesn't matter. It's still just pure rage, just because I can't distinguish the difference anymore if somebody's just trying to be nice to me to weasel their way into screw me in the end, or whatever. I just didn't trust nobody anymore. Um, but luckily, I saw a good proctologist and removed my head and was able to talk to the right people, and they made the right moves for me in my behalf, and they were able to square me away and finally get me to Luke Air Force Base, um, and that's where the real treatments and healings and um, everything I needed that I should have had years ago but didn't began. So I'm grateful for that, and I couldn't have done it without the people that really helped me, like Eric Rankin and his family. They were so helpful to me and my family. It's worst game we put into. Anyways, Like always, if you guys have any questions or comments, concerns, please don't be afraid to email me at forginghopepoetry@gmail.com. Thank you for your time.